Hey, welcome back to our Achievement Hunter series, aimed at purifying the Stormwind gameplay achievements. In previous guides, we've assassinated the warrior through rogue achievements, and this time there are 3 priest achievements standing by in the void. Let's hunt them down. This should be interesting. In today's video, we're covering the following 3 priest achievements. Circus Show, luring us into making Zyrella's Elekk ride an Elekk mount. Join the dark side. Tricking us into dealing 180 damage with our hero power as priest. And instant gratification, enticing us to draw the Purified shard the same turn we shuffle it into our deck. Since we don't have to win games to complete these, we can approach these with unusual methods when it makes things more interesting or efficient. Every guide includes timestamps for each achievement and deck codes for each deck mentioned in the description below in case you'd like to skip to one you're looking for. Now, let's answer the call of the these achievements. First up, let's present a Circus Show. All we have to do is play an Elekk mount on a Zyrella's Elekk, which spawned from an Elekk mount. Elekkception. Since Elekk mount is rather expensive, getting 2 in hand and playing them out in the current meta is actually a bit of a challenge. Fortunately, we've got a couple decks which can speed things up a bit. The first deck we're going to recommend is this Elekk Quest Priest by Skawhomp. There's a link in the description to the write-up, together with the deck code, which goes into great detail for how the deck came into being, cards which are vital and their purpose, as well as mulligan suggestions. I'd recommend giving it a read, as it'll help pilot the deck quite a bit more effectively. But let me do a quick overview of the aspects that make it appealing for us and this achievement. You'll notice that the only spell aside from the questline in this deck is Elekk Mount, meaning that High Abbess Allura with a coin or cheap spell from one of the many spell generation minions will guarantee Elekk Mount gets cast on her. If you end up drawing both copies first, Mancrick's Wife or the Questline Completion Shard are also possible to autocast with her. So you can get 1 copy of Elekk Mount in play with Allura, and you can draw the other copy from your deck more consistently with Primordial Protector. Though, for the sake of this achievement, you may want to wait on pulling the Elekk Mount with Allura until you have the other copy in hand so that you can ensure you cast Elekk Mount on Zyrella's Elekk after killing off Allura. This is the deck we used to complete this achievement, though we did draw both Elekk Mounts first, so we just had to play them naturally. Still, the tricks help improve the consistency. Now, a very different way to come at this in Wild is with this Mounted Subjects Priest from one of our viewers, KajHS. This deck is the exact opposite of the last deck, with the only minion in the deck being Test Subject, which you can draw from the deck more consistently with Insight. You can keep drawing through the deck and healing by playing cards on the Test Subject, and keep bringing him back with a number of res cards. Ultimately, you play Elekk Mount on the Test Subject, and when he dies off, he leaves an Elekk behind and gives you a copy of the spell to cast on the Elekk. We pulled off the combo on the first game with this deck thanks to a discounted Eternal Servitude, giving us Zyrella's Elekk back to play the Elekk Mount on. The synergies in this deck are great for knocking this out. Good luck putting on your own Circus Show. Let's look at the other one and done achievement for priests, instant gratification. Drawing the shard the same turn as you shuffle it might seem tricky, but there are quite a few ways to do it if you've got the questline. The simplest is to have just a few spells in the deck and use Thrive in the Shadows to grab it right after shuffling. Another method would be to play Polkelt after Zyrella into discounted card draw in Wild, or if you have a coin and a tradable card, Zyrella, Polkelt, coin, trade should draw the shard. Skawhomp's deck from the previous achievement could be used to complete this one if you discover a Thrive in the Shadows along the way, But the deck we used to complete this was this Purified Posts deck from Chump. It's a fun way to play Questline Priest while disrupting opponents with the Watch Post package. And the low number of spells in the deck means a Thrive in the Shadows after Xyrella should be very consistent in drawing the Purified Shard. With a 100% win rate across 3 test games, so a tiny sample size with no Warlocks, the deck was fun and consistent. Now, if you don't have the Questline, the Who's Questline Rogue deck we've introduced a few times now is a way that you could pull this off. Lorekeeper Polkelt is in the deck specifically for this purpose. Swindle might grab the shard from your deck if you're lucky, but it won't be guaranteed even if played after Polkelt, as it doesn't necessarily target the top spell from your deck. So, you'll want a Field Contact or a draw card from Wand Thief to guarantee a draw to pair with Xyrella. Though, that's all dependent on successfully copying, bouncing, and not dying to the opponent's board or shard. So, it'll be quite the challenge to do, and we didn't quite pull it off in the gameplay you see here, since we didn't have a bounce for Xyrella in hand, but it is possible. I wish you the best in your pursuit of instant gratification. Now on to the grindy achievement for Priest. Join the dark side. The 3-stage achievement for every other class we've looked at thus far has felt quite tricky and a bit troublesome to knock out efficiently. But this one went by very quickly. Of course, Dark Bishop Benedictus makes this go much faster as you start the game with a hero power that does damage. But you can just play Shadow Form from the core set or Shadow Reaper Anduin in Wild. If you have Benedictus and you'd like to knock this out relatively quickly while climbing, this Benedictus's aggro deck from HS Replay has over a 60% win rate at the time of writing this script. It's strong, quick, and has several cards motivating you to use your hero power. And Void Touched Attendant will let you get a little extra hero power damage in every now and then. If you don't have Benedictus, you could play this same deck with Shadow Form in place of Benedictus, but you'd likely want to run an extra copy of Shadow Form and perhaps even a second Thrive in the Shadows to improve the consistency of drawing it early enough to get decent progress per game. Now, in Wild, you could just play traditional Raza Priest to knock this out, but this achievement got my experimental juices flowing, and we built this Raza Benedictus Priest. It runs Reno, Raza, Kazakus, and Zephrys as a reward for being a Highlander deck, but the curve is much lower than you would normally see, and it's running quite a few hero power synergy cards to improve the speed of progress. Tour Guide, Garrison Commander, Blackwalled Pixie, and Clockwork Automaton. We did maintain a 50% win rate across 8 games, and it was just a fun way to play an aggro version of Raza Priest. But if you're a legendary collector and you want to flex on opponents while getting progress towards this achievement, one of our viewers, Biss, gave us this Raid Shadow Legends, not sponsored, deck. It's a Shadow Priest with all legendaries. I honestly didn't have high hopes for the deck, but the first game with it was crazy fun. We've actually got a highlight video linked above. And it was a fun way to mess around on Nosdormu Day. Of course, don't craft these if you don't have them, but if you do have them, this mix was quite a bit of fun. Editor Chop. So, one of our viewers made a good point in the comments after we recorded this, that if you don't have Benedictus or Shadow Reaper Anduin, one more alternative to getting progress for this, other than the Shadow Form core card, would be to use the Mind Tether hero power in duels. It's only 1 damage per proc, but in a spell-heavy deck, it could be even faster than the decks we've introduced. So, that's an option if you're looking for more alternatives. Okay. Now back to the original guide. However you go at it, it shouldn't be difficult to join the dark side. And that's a wrap. If you found this helpful, drop a like. Your engagement can illuminate the void so that the YouTube algorithm will not silence our content with a shard of the Naru. We're still churning through the guides for the rest of the United in Stormwind achievements, so check back soon or subscribe because we're sanctifying a ton of content. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy participating in experiments live, check out our stream at twitch.tv/SSAlchemist. We currently stream on Saturdays and Sundays. And remember, you're awesome. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day. Circus Show, luring us into making Zyrella's Elekk ride an Elekk mount. Okay.